The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
G'day everyone, it's Carl Thompson here from StorageCraft. Obviously a last minute change in presenter. We were going to have Jack, my colleague in Brisbane, present today, but he's just been tied up in another event. So I'm just going to take us through the product launch release today of OneSafe Solo. And really this webinar is just to give you an introduction and understanding of what this solution entails. For anyone that's got any questions, you're all muted, so please just use the questions option for the webinar, and I'll go through that at the end so we can do some Q&A, but feel free to post any questions as we go through the webinar. I am recording the webinar as well, so it will be available and emailed out to everyone for later on if you want to show your colleagues or anyone else on your team. So I'd just like to start with a bit of an introduction into the portfolio of solutions from StorageCraft, because this is very integral in terms of how OneSafe Solo fits into the picture. So basically our StorageCraft Cloud Services, which was launched in APAC region in 2013, is our disaster recovery as a service solution. So this has been a fantastic offering for our customers using ShadowProtect software solution to replicate a copy of their backups to StorageCraft Cloud. And with the release of ShadowXafe last year, extends that with more tighter integration, and as you'll see that the journey that we're going on here of consolidating this management into a single pane of glass. So really what OneSafe Solo consists of is the ShadowSafe components and tied into the cloud services. Our traditional OneSafe scale-out NAS storage is different to the OneSafe Solo. So the OneSafe scale-out NAS storage is for our converged solution, which can be tied into the ShadowSafe data protection, but also offering a lot of enterprise benefits around scale-out object storage. So that same OneSafe name is our hardware line. OneSafe Solo is very much focused on the data protection side of the solution rather than the scale-out object storage. And with ShadowSafe, the reason why I want to cover this off is that OneSafe Solo is based on ShadowSafe. So all of these features and benefits and functionality will all be part of OneSafe Solo. So things like the reliable recovery and flexible recovery, I mean, these are things that ShadowProtect was very well known for. This has followed through in the way that ShadowSafe works. We've improved things like the instant recovery, the ability to do host-based or agent-based backups, and ultimately it's flexible with your existing infrastructure. So you can use existing NAS SAN storage, and the same applies with Solo, is you can leverage existing storage if you have it, to have copies of your backups reside there on-prem as well. The whole idea is this SLA-oriented workflow. So this is extremely important around the simplicity that we're trying to achieve. We're trying to create a policy that does everything in one. You don't have different consoles or panes of glass or different pieces of software that have to come together. So simplicity is very integral in the way that ShadowSafe has been architected. And with OneSafe Solo, we take that several steps further in simplicity around what's involved to set up and configure. Now, OneSystem is our management. So this dashboard today for ShadowSafe is something that you would deploy in as our MSPs deploy that into their data center and through their office, and they'll be managing all of their customers from this pane of glass. With OneSafe Solo, we'll be launching a cloud-hosted OneSystem. So again, it's another thing that you don't have to do. It is simplified and all available within the cloud. Now, OneSystem today is for ShadowSafe. It is also for managing your OneSafe scale-out storage. So it's bringing those two together into one pane of glass. And then obviously as we launch the cloud version, that will be a reduced step that you don't have to do in terms of deploying this appliance, but also an automated way for us to enroll and activate these Solo devices as they are deployed. The policy which I touched on is the ability to configure your backup frequency, your retention and replication all in one place. That will stay fairly much the same. There's slight changes with the way Solo works in terms of the options that you have. Specifically with Solo, you have the ability to back up directly to the cloud. So that is all part of the policy and the flow, which really simplifies the whole life cycle of that data management, because that one policy is responsible for the protection, the retention and replication in one. Now, the key sort of architecture behind ShadowXafe and of course Solo is using microservices. So this is a highly scalable solution. The Solo is effectively running some of these microservices. The OneSystem is running a set of microservices. We have an agent that can do protection, so that will run some microservices. There is additional VM components that you could deploy, in certain environments where you want to take advantage of host-based snapshotting. So there's a number of components, but only what's required is deployed to each piece, and that allows us to have a highly scalable solution. And what we do is all of these microservices communicate using this gRPC protocol. So all backup, recovery, replication. This is what enables us to back up directly to the cloud. It enables us to boot directly out of our cloud back into your environment on site. It has a lot of benefits around performance. Things like in-flight verification was critical to a solution that we're developing, is that we want to know in real time that everything we're doing is in a consistent manner, reducing the need to resend data when you encounter a problem. So this is a very powerful framework that we're leveraging, which gives us the ability to do things extremely quickly in terms of recoveries in less than a second, which is really exciting. Now, the instant recovery that I talked about is obviously a big core component of ShadowXafe, and that's something that is also available with the Solo. So this gives you the ability to boot directly into vCenter environments or into Hyper-V in less than a second, directly from some storage, whether that be in our cloud or some local storage that you might have on-prem. So we've got some pretty smart technology in here around I/O pattern read ahead. So it's trying to boot the thing as quick as possible, and then a transparent backfill will propagate that data back into your primary storage, rather than having to do a secondary conversion or vMotion sort of process later on. So there's some pretty smart architectural smarts that have been built into this to achieve rapid recovery. And one of the challenges we're really addressing is large data. Machines are critical, they're getting bigger and bigger, and we need to be able to turn them on quickly and allow that backfill of data to happen transparently in the background. So this is quite a powerful feature of the solution. Now, really, as I touched on Shadow Protect and cloud services earlier, we've got a solution, Cloud Backup, that does backup of Office 365 and G Suite, a cloud-to-cloud solution. Then obviously with ShadowXafe and OneXafe, and really looking at the solution and the choices that we have, particularly with a core focus on business continuity. This is really where Solo's coming in. It's tying these components together and giving a simplistic approach to MSPs wanting to offer, DR as a service effectively. And over time, as I touched on, the cloud services, the cloud backup, the ShadowXafe, the OneXafe, these are all coming together into one system in a single pane of glass, along with the Solo being the first off the mark to bring those core components together. So with just changing focus slightly into the OneXafe Solo now, again, the focus is on total business continuity. This is enabling our partners to sell a business continuity solution to their customers with a very simple approach. So it's, again, when you talk simple, it's really the focus is on plug and play data protection anywhere, anytime. So, by being cloud managed and the flexibility that the Solo is going to offer across, different types of environments is really allowing customers and partners to standardize on a product without needing different, vendors and bits and pieces to come together to offer a solution. So in terms of what it is, it's a compact appliance leveraging ShadowXafe, as I've touched on. You're getting the benefits of enterprise class data protection capabilities as part of ShadowXafe, plug and play simplicity. You have the ability to back up directly to StorageCraft Cloud, so you don't need any additional storage on site if you don't want to. And the idea is it's really flexible, so you don't have to right size different appliances. You don't need to worry about how much storage does this customer have or does this one have. It will support up to 20 machines. So any customer that has 20 machines or less that they want to protect, this is going to be a one-stop shop. So it really simplifies your offering rather than having different models or versions or different options for different types of customers. So there's been a bit of media news. A lot of this is driven from our headquarters in the United States, but there's been a lot of media news around what StorageCraft is trying to achieve with OneSafe Solo. So you may have seen some of these articles online already, and really that objective is as I touched on at the start, the reliable data protection and really fast recovery. We want that approach, a lot of customers want to feel like they have something in their hand. They've got that presence of the Solo device on site, and then bring in all the benefits that partners are really asking for in terms of low touch, standardization that can be easily repeated across all their different types of customers with different environments. Really simple to manage. And when you say simple to manage, what it really means is you don't need a lot of upskill or experience or knowledge to hit the ground running with this product. It doesn't require a lot of training or ongoing management or monitoring complex situations. And then obviously optimally making it affordable and flexible solution. So that's really what we want to achieve. You've got a couple of options with the Solo, which I'll be talking about. There's the off-the-shelf solution, and then there's the ability to customize, a unique scenario with it. So it really extends the flexibility with some of the options that you have with the solution. And as I touched on, we're really trying to address the pain points that are in the industry today. And again, it's around right sizing. Each customer in some scenarios with other products need different types of solutions or different pieces of hardware. And then if the customer outgrows that, it then becomes an expensive situation of repurposing that and getting another one in, and it becomes difficult to standardize. It's also difficult if the customer already has some infrastructure that they want to leverage, but other products may require you to replace all of it, rip and replace. So we wanted to have a flexible option that gives the choice to the partner or the customer in terms of what they want to leverage that they already have, and again really simplified. So low commitment in terms of time to manage and deploy was really critical into how this product was going to come together. So again, target customer 1 to 20 machines, could be a mix of physical servers, Hyper-V and ESXi. We do actually support a wide range of other hypervisors as well, but there are certain integrations specifically that ShadowXafe has with these hypervisors. And the intention is for our MSPs to go and put this into their customers. So as I mentioned, out of the box, it's a scenario where you can back up directly to the cloud. There is also an option for you to pull out a bay in this mini PC and put in a disk, or you can use, as I've talked about, different storage that you might already have. So if the customer already has NAS, you could use SMB, NFS filers, you could even use a USB drive. So if you want to have local backups on site, there's an option for you to do that and then instead replicate a copy to StorageCraft Cloud. So that flexibility with this really extends that. We're not including any storage because you can just back up straight to the cloud. It allows you to put in the appropriate storage or leverage existing storage and really drive that cost down from that perspective. And in terms of a recovery, we can instantly boot back into the Hyper-V VMware environments. We can do full restores, or we can recover in the cloud. And then obviously you've got your file and folder recovery options on top. So really flexible. I guess in some ways this is effectively like a gateway appliance, right? It's managing your on-prem data protection. It's driving the backup recovery and replication options, and then it's all cloud managed. You've got your cloud recovery options all included with this as well. So the device itself, it's a fairly low spec device, right? It's an ASUS mini PC. You can put up to a 2 terabyte SSD or hard drive, 2.5-inch drive into the bay if you want some local storage. and you can use, a combination of NAS or USB storage if you wanted to have local copies of those backups. So really flexible from that perspective. It's not a BDR, so it's not designed to recover servers onto this device. It includes the ability to boot straight back into your Hyper-V or VMware environments. And we're really seeing that trend as people, they like the idea of a BDR, but the reality is, if you've got some big file server or machine that you want to get back, it's just been ransomware. We really just want it back, back into our hypervisor environment. We want to get it back up and running straight back where it was really quickly. We don't want to stage it somewhere and then have to go through a painful process of getting it from there back into production. So we think this is, a really powerful solution, leveraging those capabilities of ShadowXafe. Now, the main architecture components, are all part of what comes with ShadowXafe. So you've got your OneSystem, as I talked about. That's an appliance that gets deployed generally into the MSP or to a large end user. That's going to manage. That's their web-based dashboard to manage the whole solution. So with Solo, it's multi-tenant hosted. It's available out of the cloud. That's one less thing that has to be done. The next component with ShadowXafe is the service leader and the service node. So these are effectively a cut down appliance VM, and these would run at each customer site to effectively do the backup, recovery, replication management on each site. And the service leader component is effectively what the OneSafe Solo device is running. It is running the ShadowXafe service node components, and what a service leader means is it's the primary one at that site. There are scenarios where a customer may want multiple service nodes. The primary or the first one, the main one, is called the service leader. So those two are the same thing, but the Solo is the service leader. So that's all you need, one at each site. There are scenarios if the customer's running vCenter environments in VMware where they may want to deploy additional service nodes to each host, and that offers some benefits if they're doing host-based backup, where it can leverage VMware's hot add transport mode for more improved performance around snapshotting VMs in that manner. But otherwise, you can have the agents installed into the VMs or physical servers. They'll back up directly to the OneSafe Solo, and that can then in turn push them into the StorageCraft cloud or onto some local storage first. So those are the three components that come together. Ultimately, you don't need to worry about OneSystem. It's hosted in the cloud. The OneSafe Solo is the service leader, and the agent would be for any machines you want to install an agent onto for the best level of agent-based data protection. So again, I did touch on this already. The service leader is what is installed onto this device. You've got all of those benefits of ShadowXafe service leader features, and the new sort of capabilities, I guess, which we've enhanced with Solo is that it calls home for automatic appliance claiming. And I'm going to talk through a little bit about how this process works. But basically, when we say plug and play, you literally plug it in, it automatically registers into OneSystem ready to go for you. It offers the ability to back up directly to the cloud, increased data transfer robustness. So we've done some pretty smart things around how we deal with issues when all the data is in the cloud, and how we can deal with the situation on-prem. So that works really smoothly, and it will automatically configure USB drives and C drives. As you plug them in, if you want to pre-stage your backups onto a drive and ship them back to StorageCraft, it will detect that and allow you to seed your backups there, as well as any other USB storage you might want to use for a local copy of backups, or if you put a disk in internally. So it will automatically detect and configure them, and those are brand new capabilities that have come with the OneSafe Solo. So if you look at your different customer environments, this is where the flexibility really excels. And this is a challenge a little bit to some degree today with ShadowXafe, is if the customer's got a physical only environment, they need to run the ShadowXafe service node in a VM. So OneSafe Solo already doing that means we can come into physical only environments, servers or workstations, and back them up. We can have customers on vCenter, standalone ESXi, or Hyper-V. These all different types of customers giving us this flexibility across the board with this type of solution. So in terms of deployment and flexibility here, you've obviously got the off-the-shelf option of backing up directly to the cloud. You could use local NAS storage with replicating a copy to the cloud. You could use internal storage that you've put a disk into the device for a local copy and then direct to cloud, or an external USB drive. So you've got that flexibility, and you can actually customize it further as well. Each machine could have a different scenario. You might say this critical machine is going to back up to the local storage, the other ones are going to go direct to cloud. So it's not a one-stop shop. You do have the flexibility there to customize what suits for your customer. In terms of the deployment process, we've really shortened this down to 4 main steps. You call your distie and order the appliance, which can deliver directly to the customer. Plug it in and power it on. It will auto-register with the OneSystem. You'll deploy the agents to any customer sites. So that's whether you're doing the host space snapshotting or deploying the agents into the VMs or physical servers, and then using OneSystem to assign the protection policies. And that policy is going to take care of the backup, the retention, and the replication all in one. So really nice, simple flow. And the intention really here is a lot of this is automated so that it's very low touch. Again, in terms of the device itself, you've got this little mini PC with a power adapter, and you'll plug in an Ethernet cable. There's no HDMI or VGA port. There's no console to this device. It is plug and play. You literally plug it in, turn it on, browse to the OneSystem, and away you go. So that really highlights the simplicity we're trying to achieve in automation with this solution. Again, just going into a bit more detail where the partner orders the appliance, we can ship it directly to the partner if they want to fit internal storage or configuration, or they could send it straight on site. When you have plugged it in and turned it on, if there is a scenario, and it's usually the first time there's a claim code that's on the bottom of the device, and I'll show you what this looks like. If it wasn't able to auto claim, you basically just type in this claim code and it pulls it in. So very simple. You've got flexibility around host-based backup with VMware environments or agent-based for VMware Hyper-V, physical server environments. We've got a big feature coming in February which will also include host-based Hyper-V backup option as well. And then you use the OneSystem to assign the policy. Again, this is where you can choose if you want to use the local storage, internal, or NAS storage, or USB. And then it starts backing up locally or directly to the cloud. So you've got that flexibility with that solution. And again, exactly based on what you have with ShadowXafe is you've got your different policies, and the benefit of having this SLA-based policy is we can report on the policy as a whole. We're not just looking at the backup, we're looking at the recovery points on-site and off-site, and the replication. Are we all meeting that compliance that we're selling the customer? So again, OneSafe Sol is the first of many to leverage this new cloud-based OneSystem. So what we'll see fairly soon after is our OneSafe Scalar object storage will also be managed by the same new OneSystem. In February, the existing ShadowXafe customers and anyone else wanting to have a combination of Solo and ShadowXafe can all be driven from this cloud-based OneSystem. And then we will be very shortly after that bringing in our cloud services. So our cloud services, DR as a service, is currently in our MSP partner portal. That will come into this OneSystem. So again, single pane of glass. And then following that, our cloud backup for Office 365 and G Suite will also come in. So it'll really pull everything in. This is the journey we're on over the next 6 months to have everything be managed from one single OneSystem, which will be really nice. And this is the reason why we've looked at this is and architected it is for significant scale. So the architecture in the cloud that we're using allows us to have hundreds and thousands of MSPs. One MSP might only have 10 customers with Solo, another might have 100, another might have 1,000, but this will just continue to scale as customers come on board and partners come in and start deploying this out. So it's being built to handle scale at the core of this solution. So yeah, really it's plug and play data protection anywhere and anytime management. So it's, the idea is you can standardize across your product portfolio across different types of customers, and you have flexibility for customers that have certain requirements, which we think is really what customers, and that's what we're hearing, is that customers want the simplicity but ultimately the flexibility of this type of product. Now, in terms of how it works, basically, as I mentioned, on the bottom, you'll have a claim code. So this little sticker is effectively going to have a claim code on it. So if it doesn't automatically register, and usually it would just be the very first time you do it, the first one, once you claim this, any new device will automatically detect your account, as part of when the distributor ships it out to you, they'll register it. And so when it gets plugged in, it will automatically come into your OneSystem and you assign it to a customer. Now, by default, this device will pick up DHCP. So we've also built in a way for you to connect to the device via Wi-Fi. So really easy from your laptop, connect to the device, and through a web page, you could configure it a static IP if you needed to, or make any custom changes or DNS and so forth. So there is that just ultimate ease of use way to set this thing up without having to go and find a monitor and plug it in. It's really automated from that perspective. But 9 times out of 10, it'll pick up DHCP at the site. You can then go and remotely change those IP settings later. But there is obviously the backup method of connecting to the device, and this code on the bottom will tell you what that Wi-Fi password is. It's also got a MAC address registered here for the Ethernet, so you could go and set up a DHCP reservation on your network to automatically provision that as well. So you've got a lot of options there around the simplicity to get this thing up and running. You'll then go over to your OneSystem.StorageCraft.com account. You'll log in here. And basically, those of you familiar with ShadowXafe will look very much the same. You're going to have a wizard that's going to guide you here, but basically under your configuration, let me just quickly. I was going to look for my little highlighter on my screen, but I can't see it at the moment. Never mind. So basically, under configuration, you go into service nodes, and this is what I talked about earlier. You'll have a service node situated at each site. The first one, or if it's the only one, will be what's called a service leader. So each site will have one of these. So in this dashboard is where you got actions, claim device. So this allows you to add another customer into the service node screen. So once you click claim device, this is where you can enter that claim code. Again, once you've done it once, its intention is that it'll happen the first time as well, but it should automatically start propagating in here. It'll show you the ones as they come online. So you'll just click on it and then you'll assign it to a site. So the site's going to be, the customer name you've registered in there, and that way you know that anything that's backing up to this is for that particular customer. So really simple. You'll select the device and assign it to a site. And then what it will do is it will automatically provision any internal or USB storage that's been connected to it. So if you've plugged in a USB drive or an internal drive, it will automatically provision that into the storage, and that will be assigned to the appropriate site that the device is located at. You can additionally go in and add storage to add in any of our cloud, to add them a cloud account for backing up or replicating to our cloud, as well as any local NAS storage. So whether that's NFS, SMB, or iSCSI storage, you can add that in here as well. Again, assigning it to that site means that that OneSafe solo will be responsible for accessing all of those different types of storage. And then the next step is just adding the policy. So you'll just go add new. You'll basically give it a name. You'll choose the frequency. Now this screenshot here I've pre-configured to show direct to cloud. So I've said backup once a day. The destination is a StorageCraft cloud account we've added in. This is where we can enable the C drive. If we've pre-ordered a C drive, we plug that in and it will put the initial backup there. And this is going direct to the cloud, so we don't need any local storage. It's all taken care of out of the box. Now, if you did put in internal storage or you wanted to use some NAS storage, you can select the storage destination. And that last backup, that last screenshot was showing backing up once a day going to StorageCraft Cloud. So that might be the frequency you want in terms of backups. Once a day to StorageCraft Cloud, it's going directly over your bandwidth. Whereas if you've got local storage, you might say, look, actually, I'm more comfortable to back up, every hour or every 15 minutes, and then you'll go in and add in replication, and that may be just once a day. And you could have other replication. You could go to your partner DC as well, but each machine will include a subscription to StorageCraft Cloud. So that's going to be your primary DR option, and then adding in any other storage if you wanted for longer archival options and stuff like that, you can replicate as well. And then finally, you're just going to go on and select the machine. So I've called this particular site Hyper-V. That's just indicated I've got some VMs running in Hyper-V. You select them, assign policy, and when you click on assign policy, it's only going to show me policies available for that site. So it's going to be really simple. It'll say, look, you've got a OneSafe Solo here. These are the different types of policies you've created, whether that's for local storage or direct to cloud. You can assign the policy, and then you're all done and dusted. So really simple from that perspective in terms of getting up and running. It's all baked into that policy, which is really simple. So I've really run right to the end of this half-an-hour session. I will take a quick look at any Q&A. Otherwise, for everyone that's attended, thank you for coming along. Again, it has been recorded and we will send it out to you. And please feel free to reach out to your local StorageCraft rep if you would like to know more. And as we come to launch this, the distributors will have pricing. Obviously, this is an MSP-based solution, so it won't be an RRP price that we have. It will be partnered by, and they will set their own pricing and bundle it with their other services and offerings. But the intention is the device is free, and then each machine will be a license that effectively includes the cloud component with it. So again, thanks for your time. I'm just going to have a quick look now at questions. I think there's one here. Are you able to give indicative pricing? Look, I don't know what the pricing is going to be. It'll be something similar. For those of you already as MSP partners, we have the MSP bundle. It's called with Shadow Protect, and I think it's a similar scenario with ShadowXafe, where it's a monthly price. It includes the backup license and it includes the storage in the cloud. I would suggest that this may have a small uplift in that price, given that the hardware is obviously also included for free. But I don't know. I don't have that pricing. I don't know if it's been finalized. So just check with your distributor or your sales rep, and they may be able to give you more of an indication. Someone's asked, can you have MSP level policy templates? So I'm not entirely sure what you mean there, but basically the policy, the way it's created depends on where the backups are going. So if you say I want to back up to internal storage, that internal storage is going to be very specific to a device or a machine. So generally you'll have at least one policy for each different customer site, and then some sites might have multiple policies if you've got some machines backing up more frequently. But it is the sites, the way that it's architected is for multi-tenancy. So a policy will be associated with a site, and that it really helps prevent issues to some degree. So, for example, you don't want different customers backing up to someone's NAS by mistake. So we want the policies to be restricted to only back up to a particular customer's storage. Let me have a look here. Will there be FTP replication like Image Manager has? So I did touch on briefly the architecture. So with ShadowXafe and again OneSafe Solo, we're using a new protocol. It's called Google RPC. Well, actually it's gRPC, but Google did invent this protocol. So it's either way you like to read that. But effectively, this protocol is far better. So it means you don't have to go and set up FTP services. It's all handled within our subset of microservices. It's got in-flight verification, in-flight consolidation, in-flight encryption. So it's far more superior, and we have a lot more control rather than leveraging a third-party protocol to handle that. We also are able to ingest the recovery points into our cloud in the format that our cloud uses to virtualize. When you talked about Image Manager, obviously they're referring to our Shadow Protect product. That would send them backups that then had to get converted. So this is more of a seamless experience, more of a back-end thing really, but this protocol has a lot of advantage around some of the fundamental components, but it also enables us to recover using that same protocol. So we can say, look, this server's just died. I've got a OneSafe Solo. I didn't have any local storage, and I can say I want to boot this server back into my Hyper-V box, and it will start that process directly out of our cloud. So again, that protocol handles other operations rather than just a separate replication. At the moment, someone's asked about the options for backing up to the cloud. So yes, I am referring specifically to StorageCraft Cloud today. You will see, there's other options for you to replicate to any other site running, the ShadowSafe service node components. Yeah, we will include the S3 option very soon. I think it's possibly even feature complete, but it'll come in our February release where you have the option to back up or replicate to S3 storage. But again, the solo, the way the subscription model works is that it includes the StorageCraft Cloud DR. So that's included. Whether you want to add in other replication, you can do that. How does StorageCraft deal with solo hardware failures? So we will have distributors with stock in every country. So we've got 2 distributors in Australia, 2 distributors in New Zealand, and we've got distributors throughout Asia as well. So they'll all have stock, and they can just ship them out directly, and you'll just be able to plug that in, assign it to the site, and continue on your way. So that process is fairly seamless. In terms of monitoring it, it's obviously we're monitoring the entire OneSystem platform with our cloud NOC team and so forth, but you'll also have full visibility. So if a customer goes down, you will see on your OneSystem dashboard a big red X on the very first page that says there is a problem somewhere in this infrastructure. And when you click on that, it'll tell you exactly which service leader, which is obviously the solo, it'll tell you which customer, and it might just be that their internet's dropped off or whatever, but you'll be able to establish, look, do we need to reboot the device? Is the site down? And if it's failed, then yeah, the distie can just ship out another one. So that's all. That logistically is all taken care of. It's not something that's going to have to be shipped from America and you're going to have to wait 2 weeks. It'll be in stock in country. Disties will be able to get that to you same day or worst case overnight. Someone's asked about what alerting is available. Ticketing to PSAs. So good question. With this current release, we have ticketing available to ConnectWise that is built in. It's 2-way ticketing, so it will open tickets. If problems get resolved, it will go back in through the API and close that ticket, so you doesn't just keep opening new ones and not closing them off as things are resolved. But our intention is to grow that through other tools. So yeah, watch the space if you're using other tools, or give us some feedback on what you are using. But ConnectWise is the first one of the integration that we've done. Someone's asked again about FTP. Can it be configured to talk to FTP servers? So no. So ShadowSafe, the architecture is designed to use the ShadowSafe architecture. So if you want to replicate to your site, you will deploy what's called a ShadowSafe service node. It's a tiny VM. It doesn't cost you anything. You run that, and that will talk to any storage, SMB, iSCSI, NFS storage, and and then you can just add it in. You can say, I want to replicate this customer to this customer as part of the same policy, daily or real-time sync, and it will then plumb it into your storage. So it's much better than FTP, and it also allows you then to do recovery operations and so forth, rather than just a replication. So I don't know that we intend to add in FTP specifically. We think this is a much smarter scenario. There's no licensing associated around it, so it should be fairly easy to do. Just going through a couple of last questions I see here. Someone's asking if we will be able to segregate customers when you log into the portal. So yes, you will be able to filter your view on the primary dashboard. You'll be able to say, I only want to see customer A, and it will straight away simplify it right down. There's filters just about on every page around policies, protection, activity, and so forth. So anything you're about to do is you can say filter by customer. And then we have a major feature, which is, I think it's pronounced RBAC, so role-based authentication, or role-based control. So anyway, that will actually be the next part of our multi-tenant, where you'll actually be able to say this user can log in and then only see the site, or only do a backup and they can't redo a recovery. So the role-based feature is probably our next biggest priority once Solar is launched, because obviously a lot of people are going to want to go that next step further. So that's not going to be there on day one, but absolutely is going to be part of the plan for this product, is to have the ability to restrict what access certain people have, or if you want to give the customer a login they could go and do that. But yeah, at the moment you can filter per customer fairly simply. Will there be API access for MSP monitoring systems? Yes, there is. So the person who asked that, you're welcome to reach out and we can guide you through that. There is a lot of API access with the current ShadowXafe. With the Solo solution, I'm assuming that will follow as well. Yeah, well, it's all based on the same solution. So yes, you could go in through the APIs and pull whatever information you want out of there. All right, that looks like the end of the questions. Again, thank you for everyone that stayed on, and hopefully I've answered those questions. You're welcome to reach out to me at any stage or to your local sales rep if you want to talk about it more. If you're in any of our main cities, so I think we've just done Adelaide, but we've got a Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, Perth, Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch. We're all having a local event, so we'll have a device in our hand there. And run through it again. So if any of you are in those regions, would love to see you. Just reach out to us if you don't have the invites for that already. But thanks again for your time, and appreciate you all coming along and listening.